Tonight on KGW News, arrested again. The woman who allegedly curled up in a stranger's bed is accused in another strange scenario. Plus, they were called up during COVID to staff the Oregon State Hospital. Now some National Guard members have made that mission permanent.
I was like, oh, I could do this. I could work here.
And later, she made national headlines for her quirky career. Why Portland's professional cuddler is calling it quits.
It sucks that I have to leave this. And it's time.
Your news starts now.
And let's get right to breaking news tonight in a deadly shooting in Fairview. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office telling us one man is dead, with people in the area told to stay indoors as a SWAT team searched for the shooter. This is on Lincoln Street near 6th and Northeast Halsey. Gresham police also brought in a drone to help out as deputies investigate that shooting as a homicide. The victim has not been identified, and as far as we know, no arrests have been made. We'll update you as we learn more here and at KGW.com. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm David Mulco, and now to the ongoing mental health challenges facing much of our homeless population and beyond. We're going to show you a couple examples of what we mean in just a moment. But first, leaders essentially took an inventory tonight from people trying to support those in crisis. Our Alma McCarty listened in. Alma, it sounds like from that conversation, we have a long way to go.
David, although these people who work in behavioral health are working hard to address the growing issues, they're the first to admit a lot still needs to be done here. They shared some of the problems tonight during a virtual conversation hosted by Mayor Ted Wheeler and Multnomah County Chair Deborah Kafoury, who say expanding the behavioral health crisis system must be a top priority.
What do you need from us as elected officials, both at the city level, the county level? Our state representatives are here. What are some of the major touch points for us that we need to know about?
Really thankful that we're seeing a shift at the federal, state, and local levels to not just add resources that help people experiencing a crisis of mental health or substance use, but to support them after the crisis has passed.
During the hour-and-a-half discussion, leaders heard from people involved at every level of crisis response in the Portland metro. Speakers broadly noted a need for more shelter space and housing and a more streamlined process in accessing services like sobering and treatment centers. One solution already in the works, the new Behavioral Health Resource Center downtown. Phase 1, a day program to serve the homeless community, will open mid-November.
It is not crisis. It is not treatment. What it is a safer space for our houseless neighbors who live with mental health and substance use challenges, who often are rejected from traditional shelter or other housing environments because their behaviors don't support that group participation, shall we say.
There are many bills that are contemplated.
State Representative Rob Nose ran down a list of potential bills in the upcoming 2023 legislative session. Among them, bills to address problems at the Oregon State Hospital, to add more residential treatment facilities, and to increase funding to community behavioral health clinics.
So we are going to get to the behavioral health nirvana in this state. It may take a couple of legislative sessions, all right, but we are working on it.
Mayor Wheeler said they are also drawing inspiration and ideas from other states. He's working to coordinate a meeting with California legislators about newly passed laws there to help get people with the most severe forms of mental illness into treatment and into housing effectively. David?
Yeah, thank you, Alma. You know, it's such a pressing issue. It seems like almost every day we are hearing of a new arrest of someone with mental health issues. Thanks, Alma. Let's show you what we mean here, including a court appearance for a man police say walked down a Portland street with a metal sign pole and smashed business windows. Now, court documents say Tyler Jeremio is homeless, has self-described mental health issues, though no criminal history. Bee Cleaners, that's a staple downtown, had 2 windows broken. The campaign office for city council candidate Renee Gonzalez was also damaged, as was Trek Bicycles. Then there's this story, a woman who allegedly broke into a Northeast Portland home, there's the dog barking, and climbed into a child's bed. The DA did not press charges against her at the time, saying what she really needed was mental health treatment. But tonight, that woman is back in jail. She's now accused of harassing people in Southeast Portland and stealing from a business. Police say around 10 last night, Terry Zinser was acting erratically at Southeast 112th and Powell. She was reportedly trying to get into cars. She walked into the Daily Planet bar topless, they say, and she was accused of shoplifting at a nearby 7-Eleven. The DA now says he is taking a second look at potential charges against Zinser. In the first case, that's the home break-in case, he added the lack of mental health resources in our community is unacceptable. And one of the challenges we've been reporting on, the state of Oregon's psychiatric care. Last month, a federal judge ordered the state hospital to begin releasing patients, many who face criminal charges, early because others were waiting in jail for spaces to open up. At the same time, the hospital is facing a staffing shortage, though tonight there is relief and hope from an unexpected source. Catherine Cook with that part of the story.
Food services, may I come in?
Summer 2021. As COVID-19 peaked, Oregon Guard members stepped up to fill staffing shortages at hospitals around the state. That included the Oregon State Hospital in Salem. When they requested support, 32 Guard members provided, including Zenas Sigra.
I was nervous about working here, You kind of didn't know, I remember as a kid, the bars on the windows, mental hospital. But then after working here and working with some of the patients and talking to them, they're just regular people like us who do need help.
On his mission, Zenas worked in food services. But as the months passed, he saw other opportunities here, outside his service with the Guard.
Since I was like, I could do this. I could work here.
In June, 10 Guard members applied to work for the state hospital after their mission ended. Zenas was among them. He's now a mental health therapy technician. His days include escorting patients to their meals, therapy sessions, or just passing a little time with them.
We'll play cards. Dice is usually the number one thing that they like to play up there.
Right now, there are more than 200 job openings at the Oregon State Hospital, everything from medical to clerical. But staff members admit just getting people to apply can be challenging.
I think being injured is probably one of the main concerns people would have. And while that does happen, it doesn't happen all the time.
Angie Johnson is director of nursing at the Oregon State Hospital. She says not every job poses that type of risk, and training is a big part of prevention. She calls the need to staff up critical.
That's the goal here, to provide the best patient care we can. So if we are fully staffed, it relieves stress from the job.
The windfall of Guard member applicants was unexpected, the product of a chance to test the waters. Johnson hopes others take their own chance at finding a good fit.
I think being able to help people when they're in crisis is one of the main things, because people come here when they're at their worst, and we're able to help them get through that and get to a space where they can lead a fulfilling life in the community.
In Salem, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. Vancouver police have arrested a 60-year-old man accused of trying to lure children at a bus stop. This happened on September 16th on Northeast 144th Avenue and Hearthwood Boulevard. Police say Jacques de Lesueur tried to offer kids candy and put his mouth on a child's ear. 10 days later, they say he was spotted near a school touching himself. Now, Lesueur was arrested. He faces charges that include stalking, luring, and assault with sexual motivation. 2 children are recovering in Salem after they were hit by a car outside an elementary school. Now, both kids are okay. They're expected to survive. School officials say the driver was dropping off their own kids at Chavez Elementary when they hit the students at low speed. Police say the driver had trouble seeing because of the sunshine. Investigators say the driver stayed at the scene and was cooperating. Well, tonight, police have identified the victim of a deadly shooting in Northwest Portland's Wallace Park. She's 26-year-old Erica Walker Evans. Investigators say she was found in the park around 11 Friday night. She died, they say, before paramedics could get her to the hospital. They are now investigating that as a homicide. No word on any suspects or any arrests. Tonight, we are taking a closer look at Measure 110. That is the ballot measure voters approved 2 years ago that decriminalized possession of small amounts of nearly every illicit drug. Now, Part 2 of the measure was to use taxes from cannabis sales to create new treatment options. Though, as Pat Doris explained on The Story, that original plan doesn't appear to be working.
Keith Humphreys recently told Oregon lawmakers the state's drug policy encourages extensive drug use and has no deterrence. He's calling for the state to make changes.
Addicted people usually do not seek treatment and recovery without external pressure from family, friends, employers, healthcare providers, or the law. Why does this matter? It matters because Oregon has removed all legal pressure to stop drug use and seek treatment. Because many addicted people are not working or in touch with their family, those pressures to stop using drugs and alcohol are also absent from their lives.
Now, Measure 110 does allow police to write tickets for $100 if someone is found in possession of user amounts of drugs. They can have that ticket wiped away if they call the Lines for Life helpline. But most who are given tickets, they don't do that. They just ignore them, according to Dr. Todd Cordes, the head of addiction medicine at OHSU.
The original plan to ticket people who use drugs and have them call a treatment hotline has not worked. Of over 3,000 tickets issued as of the end of this summer, the hotline received 137 calls for treatment, most of whom weren't looking for treatment, actually. They were looking for screening for legal purposes. Only 1% of those issued a ticket for drug possession requested information about treatment resources. In my discussions with treatment leaders around the state, not one has had any patient enroll in treatment due to these tickets.
The experts also talked about harm reduction efforts like making Narcan more available and the impact on drug use there. Plus, it's often said Oregon modeled Measure 110 after the law in Portugal. But there's a reason the outcome here has been quite different. You can watch our full report now in the story section of KGW.com. And let me know what you think about Measure 110. You can send me an email. The address is thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail, 503-226-5090.
And Pat loves reading those emails. All right, still to come.